Welcome to the State of the Internet address for lawyer video marketing here at the end of 2012. Come on in and join me. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury trial attorney, and I'm also the founder of the Lawyers Video Studio. In addition, I happen to be the chairman of the Lawyers Video Marketing Alliance, and today I want to share with you some incredible information about the state of the Internet today as it applies to lawyer video marketing for this past year in 2012. What I'd like to do is share with you some great information about where we've been and where we expect to go over the next course of the year or two. And why do I want to do that? Because we as a community, lawyers who use video to market our practices online, need this information to get a broad overview of why video is so powerful, why it's so important, and what we can expect in the coming years. Now, before I jump ahead to the future, let me just go back with you for a minute and discuss a prediction that I had at the end of 2011. And during that time, I shared with you a prediction that basically said that online video was going to be a dominant force for people who were searching for content and information. Well, here we are at the end of 2012, and I want to tell you that online video is an incredible way to communicate with our clients. It's an incredible way to communicate with consumers who are searching for our information. And it happens to be one of the most predominant ways that people are now going online to search for content and information. Did you know that according to Pew Research, 2/3 of all adults who go online for information prefer to watch video over reading text? That's a remarkable statistic. So now as we proceed forward, let me share with you some eye-opening statistics that really I think are going to knock your socks off. In the United States, 183 million people watched more than 37 billion online content videos during September 2012, according to ComScore. Now that's just for one single month, not for a year, but for one single month, that 37 billion online content videos were watched. Now imagine if you don't have any video that you are creating on a regular, consistent basis. Imagine the ability and the opportunities that you're losing to engage with viewers who are actively searching for information about the type of law you practice and how you might be able to help solve their legal problem. The reality is that if you're not creating great video content today, you're losing out key opportunities. You're losing the ability to engage with these people, to show them that you have great information and content. Because remember, not everybody knows a trusted source who can then refer them to an attorney who handles the type of law that you do. So instead, they go online to look for information. They're in search mode. They're trying to find out information about their particular problem. And if you were to create great content that explains to them how the process works, explain to them information about how you can help solve their legal problems, you stand a much better chance of getting that call, converting a viewer into a caller, than somebody who clearly doesn't have video. Let me share with you another incredible statistic. Forrester reports 90% of the online population will regularly watch video by the year 2017. Frankly, I think that's happening now. And for those of you who have kids, you know that's a fact. Kids are on YouTube every single day watching videos, sharing great content. Our consumers are online watching these videos because they want information. They're hungry. They're starving for this information. And if you're not providing it, I have to ask you the question, why not? Why aren't you providing this great content and information so that your viewers get to know you, they get to see you, they get to hear you, and they get to benefit from the information you have? And again, without giving any legal advice, but simply explaining to them content they need to know about. And if you're not doing that, you're clearly missing great opportunities that you should be taking advantage of. Listen to this statistic. The mobile video audience has gained 15 million viewers in the last 2 years, which represents a 77% increase according to Business Insider. So people are watching their content on their iPhones, on their Android phones, and it's becoming a huge way to consume great information, especially videos. Now, listen to this remarkable statistic from CNN. For every 1 second that a video does not start playing, there's a 5.8% increase in the rate at which viewers bail out via CNN. Now think about that and how that could apply to you and your website and your information online. If a viewer is coming to search for information, they like your content or they expect to get content from you, and now you don't have a video that now explains and tells these people information they need to know, do you think that the same thing could happen where a viewer is going to leave because you don't have video on your site compared to what's going on with CNN? I guarantee you that's exactly what's happening. Because remember, go back to that statistic from Pew Research. 2/3 of all adults prefer to watch video compared to reading text. Now, you can't do one without the other. You need both. Not only for search engine purposes, but because of the other 1/3 of the people who are coming to look for information. But the key goal of creating video is to show your viewer that you have this information, to get them to form a bond with you, to form some sort of trust with you. Because if you can't do that, then you've lost the game already and don't even bother putting content online. Remember, the whole goal of creating this great video content is to get a viewer to see that you have useful information for them and to get them to recognize you have the confidence, that you know your stuff, and that you're the likely go-to source for more of that information. So let me share with you some really interesting things about what I've seen over the past year. And it'll help give you an understanding of where we need to go. Over the last year, I've seen the number of attorney videos increase dramatically. And why is that? Well, naturally, because people recognize the value of video and what it can do for them and their practice and driving people to their practice. I've also noticed that the quality of the videos have increased dramatically, and I'm really pleased to see that. You know, I watch a lot of videos, I watch a lot of content because I want to see what other attorneys are doing across the country. So in that regard, I'm very pleased, especially with the attorneys who are creating video on their own. Many attorneys who create video on their own now are creating high-definition video in really good quality, and I'm really glad to see that. Also, a lot of video production companies are also creating great quality videos. But there's a caveat here, and let me explain that. The quality of the content has stayed flat. In the last 2 years, from 2010, 2011, leading up to this year, 2012, there's been a slow, gradual improvement in the quality of what the attorney is talking about. But as of this year, 2012, I have to say that the quality has been relatively flat. A lot of the attorneys, and you may want to ask yourself, why is that? And I think the reasoning behind it is based upon the production companies who help attorneys create video. They don't truly understand what content viewers are searching for. They don't understand the information that these people want and need to know. So instead, they're still having these attorneys create content that they think their viewers want. And that's a dramatic difference, and I've said that over and over again. So remember, this is really important. It's not what the video production companies want you to create. It's what your consumers and ideal clients need. What information do they require? And that's the content you should be focusing on. That's ultimately where I see the attorneys falling down on their obligations. The quality has not been very good and has not been steadily increasing. But over time, I expect it will. Now, most content that I see attorneys create, in my opinion, still stinks. Again, some of them are improving, but the majority of them, based upon their video companies who are telling them and encouraging them to create certain types of videos, certainly have not improved at all. Now, one of the things that you know and you've heard me talk about repeatedly is that video companies still don't focus on the viewers. So most of the lawyer video that you see today is created by video production companies, and they're traditional companies that say, okay, tell us about yourself, tell us about your credentials, and I will tell you that thankfully many of them are now starting to drift away from getting the attorney simply to talk about them and their credentials, which again I think is in part because of my efforts to get people away from that message. Nobody cares about you. Nobody on video who's searching for an attorney who has a legal problem cares about you. So I'm glad to see that many of those companies are getting away from that particular type of video, which is a good thing, but the companies still are not getting the attorneys to focus on the viewers, on their ideal clients. And that's something that I'd like to see improved. Also, the attorneys themselves are not using their own independent judgment to focus on their viewers. You know, they have in their own mind that this is a message, this is a way to get out a message to their clients or their consumers about things that they still want to talk about. Just like many video production companies are not correctly focused on what content the attorney needs to create, I think a lot of attorneys also are not focused and not clear on the information that they should be providing to their general public, to the people who are looking for this information. And again, if you don't create information that your consumers and ideal clients are actively looking for, they will go elsewhere. And you know what? They will find it, but it won't be with you. So make sure that you have the content that your viewers want and that they're actively looking for. And by providing that great content, again, it will stand you apart from all of your competitors. It will make you stand out from the crowd. Now, here's another thing that I've noticed over the past year. Why do video companies and their attorneys continue to put out videos about their biographies? You know, I've written about this endlessly. I've written blog posts about this, and I've talked about this at various marketing seminars. What is the fascination with creating an attorney video bio? I don't get it. And I understand there's basic reasons, especially in a larger firm, for creating an attorney video bio. But let me just point this out. One of the key things that I stress over and over again is that our consumers who are going online to look for information for the type of law that we practice to solve these people's problems don't care about us. They don't want to know about us. They don't care where we went to school. They don't care what activities we did in law school. They don't care what activities we've done over our career. The only thing that they want to know is, can you help solve my problem? Do you have experience with my particular problem? If you do, tell me some of the things I need to know. So, for the love of God, stop doing attorney video bios. They don't help you. It's simply a waste of your time, your resources, your money, and it will not help convert a viewer into a caller. The only reason that I think that video production companies create attorney video bios is to make the attorney feel good. The only people who care about that is the attorney's mom, and maybe some of the people in the attorney's firm. That's it. I don't know anybody who would actively pick up the phone to call an attorney because he tells you he went to one law school and he graduated this number in his class and he was on moot court or he was on law review and these are the types of activities he did during the course of his career in law school and leading up to his 20 years of experience. It's just not worth it. Stay away from the attorney video bios. Next, along the same lines, stop thinking that the world revolves around you and about your law firm. The sad reality is it doesn't. And although we as attorneys like to believe that we are the center of our entire universe and that everything revolves around us, again, I'm going to share with you some incredible information that is going to help you. And if you listen to this information, I guarantee it will dramatically change the way that you look at things, dramatically change the way your consumers look at you. Stop thinking everything revolves around you. Turn it around. Let's have a total mind shift change. Focus on your consumer. Focus on your potential client. Focus on the ideal client you would like to have more of. And by doing that, you will have an awakening. You will be eye-opening to the possibilities that now there's great content you can create focused on your ideal consumer. So think about who your ideal client is and what information they really need to know. Let's talk about some of the goals I'd like to see for you, for our community, as a group of lawyers who are using the internet to market our services. Because really what we are, and this is something I'm going to share with you again and again, we are marketers who just happen to be in the business of selling legal services. And when you understand that concept, you will see how powerful and how true that message is. One of our goals as attorneys is to educate the public. And I know a lot of attorneys who have fees to see and meet with a client initially, initial consultation fees, are really afraid to teach and educate the public. One of my goals for the year 2013 is to have you, as a community, create content that educates your consumers. Our goal, our obligation, our mission, not only is to communicate better with our ideal clients, but to educate the public. You know, there are a lot of attorneys who charge for initial consultations when somebody comes in to meet with them. And they are afraid, they are honestly afraid to teach and educate their consumers before they ever come in to meet with them in their office. Why is that? Because they are afraid that if they give away too much information, what's going to happen is that the consumer is going to think, hey, why do I have to come in and pay an initial consultation fee of a few $100s if I can get all this information for free before I ever meet you? Well, that's flawed thinking. Why? Because your goal as an attorney who is using video to create information, to provide information to your ideal consumers, is to give as much information away as possible. By doing that, you will be seen as the expert without you ever having to say, come to me because I'm an expert. And that's a remarkable thing. You will be recognized as the go-to resource simply because you're providing great information and great content online. I truly believe that we as attorneys have an obligation to educate the public. And why is that? Because the public doesn't understand the laws, they don't understand the rules, they don't understand the procedures that we do. And by teaching them and educating them, they become better informed consumers. And isn't that the goal? So that now these people get to rely on you, they get to see you have this great content, they get to see your confidence, and now they begin to recognize, hey, this guy knows this particular information. Let me call and ask him for more information. Let's see if he can help me solve my problem. By doing that, you are now creating a greater group of educated consumers who now come to you with better focused questions, with more detailed information, better quality cases, and now you have the ability to filter through whether or not this is the right type of case for you. Because remember, not every person who calls or converts into a caller will be your ideal client, and that's okay. But the whole goal is to get people to recognize you have this information, and using video is the best way to do that. One of my next goals for 2013 for you as a community is to be able to communicate better with your colleagues, your clients, your family. And why is that? Once you start creating video, you will quickly realize how this helps you in many different facets of your life, not just in law, but in your ability to communicate and get messages out clearly and concisely. You know, I've written a number of blog posts about how creating video, importantly editing video, has allowed me to become a better attorney. And the way it's done that is by allowing me to focus concisely on things like headlines, on the descriptions, on giving people concise information that they need to know in a very short span of time. So now I've become somewhat of an expert on creating headlines, on creating content that gets information out, and I can tell somebody in 2 sentences what my case is about now. I can now communicate that during a mediation. I can now communicate that concise information to a defense attorney when I'm negotiating a particular case. And that has allowed me a tremendous opportunity to now improve what I do on a day-to-day basis as a medical malpractice attorney here in New York. Once you begin to focus on learning how to communicate by video, all of a sudden that's going to translate to you in communicating with the clients who walk into your office. It's going to communicate to you, and it's going to transform the way that you talk to people on the telephone and when you interact with them in different social settings. And you won't realize it immediately because this is something that takes a period of time over a process. But I guarantee you that by creating video, you will remarkably change the way that you communicate. And it is all for the good. It will provide you with a transformation that you never knew existed. So I encourage you to spend that time to learn how to communicate better. And one of the key things, and I recommended this last year before, and for those of you who've been following me on my blog and other things that I do online, you know that there's a gentleman that I follow regularly. His name is David Fries. He is a trust and estates attorney, and I have to tell you, he's a remarkable gentleman. Not only is he an incredible attorney, but he teaches people how to communicate in ways that you would never think possible, and ways to improve your communication skills through colleagues, friends, and family. And I've been pleased to tell you before, and I'm pleased to say this again, and Dave doesn't give me any compensation for this, I just think it's a remarkable program that he has. It's called 3daystosuccess.com. And for those of you who are actively looking to learn how to improve your marketing skills, learn how to communicate your messages through the use of video and other ways, one of the best things that you can do is to sign up for Dave's Mastermind program. For those of you who want to know, I'll be going to his upcoming seminar this spring. It's being held in Tampa, and the best way to learn more about it is go to his website, 3daystosuccess.com, and when you speak to him, just tell him I gave you this recommendation because I think it's well worth it. So every attorney should be looking to improve their communication skills, and that's one of the next goals I have for you for this year. You should be making an investment in yourself. You should be making every effort to learn how to hang out with people who are really smart marketers, smart attorneys, so that you can learn from them. Because you are the sum of the 5 closest people you hang out with. If they are all upbeat and confident and energetic and enthusiastic, you will get all of those traits and you will use them as your own. If, on the other hand, you hang out with a bunch of whiners and complainers and downers, those traits become yours and you adopt them as well. And nobody likes to hang out with people like that. So make sure you take the time to learn about who to hang out with. Learn from people who are smarter than you, who've done these things before, And now people who are confident, energetic, enthusiastic, and eagerly share information with you. And I guarantee you, over the course of time, that will dramatically help your outlook and dramatically change the way that you create content for your online consumers. All right, what else do I want to share with you for 2012 leading into 2013? Our goal, our greater purpose, is to help people in need to solve their legal problems. And that's something we need to do every single day. I encourage you to engage your clients, engage your consumers. I want you to understand, I want you to sympathize with them, to feel their pain, to feel what they're going through, and to empathize with them. You really need to put yourselves in their shoes. And you know, when I'm trying cases, I can never say that to a jury because we're not permitted to say that. But I can say that to you as a fellow attorney, as a colleague, as a friend. Why? Because by doing that, again, you will put yourself in their shoes and you will immediately recognize what information they need when you create your attorney content through the use of video. So think about that, spend time, and by doing that, you will clearly have an understanding of what these people want and need. You know, I think that it's our moral and ethical obligation to create educational videos. And that's a greater purpose that we have, not just to market ourselves and our law firms and to drive traffic and to increase our revenue. That's all well and good. But I think our overall purpose of creating this content is to educate our consumers, to teach them so that they become better educated, so now they have a better knowledge of what questions to ask and who to ask it of. I want you to use your videos to enlighten, to educate, to teach, to communicate, and to explain. And again, by doing that, you will be looked at as the go-to resource. Now, here's a challenge that I have for you. I challenge each and every one of you who are watching this video to eliminate the following words from your vocabulary when you create video. I want you to eliminate these words: me, my, I, my law firm, my firm, our firm. If you eliminate those words, you know what happens? You no longer are the focus of the video. Instead, turn it around to you. Let me see how I can help you solve your legal problem. Change it. So I don't want to hear you say anymore, come to me because my law firm has been in business for 25 years and we have 60 years combined legal experience. We give personal attention. We have free parking. Eliminate those words of anything having to do with me, me, me. And by doing that, again, you're going to see a remarkable transformation where you're no longer talking about yourself because nobody cares about you. You're simply talking about your clients and information that they need to know. I want to challenge you to a couple of things as I wrap up today's State of the Internet address as we close out the year 2012 and head into a great new year in 2013. I challenge you to create consistently great quality video. That's a challenge that I have for you. I challenge you to educate your consumers, to engage in charities and other things beyond what you do on an everyday basis in your law practice. I challenge you to become involved in your clients' daily lives, and not just the fact that there's some file sitting in your office. That's a really important concept that I want you to take to heart. And as a fellow attorney, I see this every day and something that I personally get involved in on a regular basis with my clients. I challenge you to invest in yourself, to learn, to become smarter, to hang out with really smart attorneys who are marketers. And if not attorneys, then hang out in other smart marketing groups. So now you can take that information and apply it and model it to your particular practice. I challenge you to create 25 new videos in the course of 2 months if you create video on your own. I challenge you to create 50 videos in a one-day video shoot like we do here in the Lawyer's Video Studio. I challenge you to create 100 videos through 2 video shoots 6 months apart. So now at the end of a year, you'll have 100 videos. Are you up for that challenge? A lot of attorneys are not up to such a challenge. They're afraid. They're afraid to create content. They're afraid to create that much content. And you know what? I even challenge you to create 150, 200, 300 videos in the course of a year like we do for some of our Lawyer Video Studio clients. And why do I challenge you to do that? Because I want you to recognize how important video is in today's world. Creating video is one of the key ways to communicate with our ideal clients. You know that video is important. Video is only going to improve, get bigger and bigger. And the only way you can maximize the chances that people will recognize you have great content is by creating frequent, consistent video of great quality that your clients and consumers want and need. And those are my goals for you for the upcoming year for 2013. Some of my predictions I believe are going to come true, that video will be the online content force with everything that happens in terms of being able to create a message for our ideal consumers. Don't be left behind. You don't want to be in that position where now you're scratching your head wondering, why didn't I create video before? So, I leave you today with this great information. I hope this has been educational and informative for you to give you a great overview of where we are, where we're going, and where we need to be in the future as a community of attorneys who create great quality video to market ourselves today online. I'm Gerry Oginski, founder of the Lawyers Video Studio. Thanks so much for watching.